My mom gave every kid a gift on Christmas, except my 4-year-old son. Then she asked me to pay her bills. I still remember the sound of laughter in that house. It was loud. It was bright. It was warm on the outside. But inside, it was cold for me. On Christmas Eve, we drove to my parents' place a little after 5 p.m. The driveway was packed. Lights were on. Music came through the windows. From the street, it looked like the perfect holiday. My name is Darby. I am a single parent. My child is Otis. He is 4 years old. He still believes adults are kind because adults are supposed to be kind. Otis held a drawing in his hands. He had worked on it for days. It showed a Christmas tree and our family around it. He drew small hearts above the heads. At the top, in uneven letters, he wrote, "Happy Together." He was proud of it. The moment we walked in, Otis ran to my mom. Her name is Marla. He gave her the drawing like it was a treasure. Marla looked at it for 2 seconds. She said, "Thanks," like she was answering a doorbell. Then she turned away to get another drink. My dad, Cliff, stood near the kitchen. He smiled, but it was the tight kind of smile. The kind people use when they want the room to think everything is fine. My brother, Rhett, was already there with his kids. They were sitting on the floor in front of the tree. Boxes were everywhere. Wrapping paper was everywhere. Everyone had a phone out like this was a show. The gifts were huge. New tablets. New games. Headphones. And then I saw the biggest surprise of all. A small puppy. A real dog. Wrapped with a red bow. People clapped. People laughed. Someone said, "This is the best Christmas ever." Cameras recorded the moment. Otis stood beside me. He did not ask for much. He just watched. His eyes were wide. He looked happy for his cousins. He was patient. He was polite. He kept his hands close to his body like he was waiting for his name to be called. I told myself, maybe his gifts are in the other room. I told myself, maybe they are saving his for the end. I leaned down and whispered, "Maybe Santa saved yours for later." Otis nodded like that made perfect sense. He trusted the world. Then the gift opening started for real. One name after another. Rhett's kids. Then Rhett. Then my dad. Then my mom. Even the dog got a toy wrapped in shiny paper. And Otis got nothing. No stocking. No small bag. No box. Not even a little chocolate. He sat on the carpet with his hands in his lap. He kept smiling. It was the kind of smile a child uses when they do not want to look sad. I waited. I thought someone would notice. I thought someone would laugh and say, "Oh, we missed one." But nobody did. Dinner came out. People moved on. They talked about dessert. They talked about plans. The room acted like everything was normal. My chest felt tight. I walked to my dad and spoke quietly. "Did you have something for Otis?" My dad looked at my mom. My mom did not look surprised. She just stared at the table like she did not want to be part of it. Then my mom said it. In front of everyone. "He didn't earn it," she said. I blinked. What? Marla lifted her chin. After the way he acted last time. She meant a visit 2 weeks earlier. Otis missed his nap. He got overwhelmed. He cried. It was not rude. It was not cruel. He was just tired and 4. But my mom used that moment like a reason to punish him on Christmas. Nobody spoke. My brother looked at his phone. My dad picked up a tray like he suddenly had an urgent job. A kid ran by wearing new VR goggles, laughing. Otis looked up at me. He did not cry. He did not shout. He just looked confused, like he could not understand how a grown-up could do this. I stood up. My hands shook while I reached for his jacket. "Come on, buddy," I said gently. "We're going home." Otis put his arms through the sleeves without fighting. He asked in a quiet voice, "Did Santa leave my presents at our home?" That question broke something in me. I kept my voice calm in the car. I said, "Maybe Santa came late. Maybe he is saving something special." When we got home, I sat in the dark for a minute with my hands on the steering wheel. I kept seeing Otis sitting there, empty-handed, watching everyone else open gifts. At 9:20 p.m. my phone buzzed. A text from my mom. "Don't forget the utility payment." The same person who gave a dog a gift, and gave my child nothing, was reminding me to pay her bills. I did not answer. I did not argue. I just made a quiet promise to myself. I am done playing this game. The next morning, Otis woke up hopeful. He still believed Santa would make it right. I went to the closet and pulled out the gifts I had hidden weeks ago. Small things. Crayons. A puzzle. 2 picture books. A winter jacket with little snowflakes. A set of animal puppets he had pointed at in a store. I placed them under our small tree. When Otis saw them, he gasped like the room filled with magic. He came, he shouted. Santa came. I smiled for him. I held it together for him. Around 10 a.m. my phone buzzed again. I already knew who it was. My mom wrote. Can you come fix the shed door? The wind blew it loose. The shed was at the second house. The one I owned. The one my parents had lived in rent-free for 3 years because I did not want them to struggle. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back 2 words. Not today. A few minutes passed. Then another message came. Please. It won't take long. I read it and felt something new. Not anger. Clarity. I wrote back, not today, again. No extra words. No apology. And for the first time in my life, I meant it. After I sent that message, I put my phone face down on the table. I did not want to look at it. I did not want to explain myself. For years, I explained everything. I explained why I could not come right away. I explained why I was tired. I explained why Otis cried sometimes. I explained why I paid late or early or at all. I was always explaining. That morning, I stopped. Otis sat on the floor in his pajamas, lining up his new animal puppets. He gave each one a voice. A soft voice. A brave voice. A silly voice. He told a story about Santa getting lost, then finding the right house at the last minute. In his story, Santa always fixed mistakes. I watched him and felt 2 things at the same time. Love and guilt. Love because he was kind and gentle. Guilt because I had brought him into a house where kindness was optional. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. I let it ring. Then it rang again. I answered on the 3rd try, because some habits are hard to break. My mom, Marla, sounded cold. Not worried. Not caring. Just annoyed. I'm outside, she said. The door is getting worse. I need help. I said, no. There was a pause. Then she laughed. Not a happy laugh. A short sound, like I had said something silly. Be serious, Darby. I am serious. You're really doing this? She asked. Over Christmas? I looked at Otis. He was making the bear puppet hug the rabbit puppet. He did not hear us. Thank goodness. This isn't about Christmas, I said. It's about how you treated my child. She sighed loudly. You're too sensitive. He needs to learn. Learn what? I asked. That love depends on behavior. She did not answer that. She never answered questions like that. I'll remember this, she said. Then she hung up. The rest of the day was quiet. Peaceful. Otis played. We ate simple food. We laughed. There was no tension in the air. No one watching. No one judging. The next afternoon, I saw a familiar car slow down in front of my house. Then it drove past. Then it came back. I knew what was coming. A knock. I opened the door just a little. Marla stood there with her arms crossed. She did not say hello. She did not ask how we were. She looked past me and said, "Is Otis here?" That told me everything. She did not come to apologize. She came to control the story. No, I said. He's not seeing you. She frowned. Don't be dramatic. She stepped forward. I did not move. I kept the door where it was. Otis, she called out loudly, like she expected him to run to her. I should not have called him. I know that now. But habits are powerful. Otis walked into the hallway holding one of his puppets. When he saw her, his face lit up. He smiled wide. Children forget pain faster than adults. That is not weakness. That is innocence. Hi, he said. Marla crouched a little and smiled. Not warmly. Not kindly. It was a smile without softness. You know why Santa didn't bring you anything at our house, right? She said. My stomach dropped. Otis froze. Because you were bad, she continued. Santa doesn't bring gifts to kids who don't behave. I felt something snap inside me. Otis did not cry. He just stared at the floor. His hands dropped. The puppet fell. Maybe next year, Marla said. If you're good. Then she looked up at me like she had just taught an important lesson. I stepped forward and said, very clearly, leave. She stood up fast. Don't overreact. Leave. Now. He needs discipline, she said. The world won't be kind to him. I said, neither are you. She muttered something about me raising him weak. I closed the door. Otis sat on the couch, very still. I sat next to him. What's wrong? I asked. He whispered, I think Santa forgot me because I was bad. That sentence hurt more than anything my parents had ever said to me. I took his hands. I looked at him. I said slowly, carefully, Santa did bring you gifts. But sometimes adults make mistakes. This was not your fault. Not even a little. He looked up at me. Really? Really? That night, after he fell asleep, I went out again. I bought a few more small things. Not because he needed them, but because he needed proof. Proof that he was seen. I wrapped them and wrote tags. From Santa. From Grandma. From Grandpa. In the morning, they were on the doorstep. Otis screamed with joy. A happy scream. He jumped and laughed and said, they remembered me. I smiled for him. Inside, something hardened. That afternoon, I drove to the second house. The house I owned. The house they treated like a right, not a gift. Marla opened the door. She looked surprised. I need you to start packing, I said. You have 3 days. Leave the keys on the counter. She stared at me. You're kicking us out? Over toys? This is not about toys, I said. It's about how you treated my child. It's about telling him he didn't deserve love. My sibling, Lane, showed up later. She laughed. She said I was jealous. She said Marla always favored her anyway. I said the same thing to all of them. 3 days. The messages came that night. Guilt. Anger. Threats. I did not answer. On the 3rd day, the house was empty. I stood in the living room alone. I expected relief. I felt sadness instead. Then there was a knock. It was Aunt Rowan. She held grocery bags and said softly, I saw everything. She told me she watched Otis give Marla the drawing. She watched Marla fold it like trash. She watched Otis wait for a gift that never came. She hugged me. She hugged Otis. She said, you did the right thing. That night, Otis fell asleep on the couch with a gift in his arms. The house was quiet. Not empty. Peaceful. For a few days after they moved out, nothing happened. No calls. No messages. No sudden emergencies. The silence felt strange. Like the calm after a storm when you're not sure if it's really over or just gathering strength somewhere else. Otis noticed it too. Is Grandma mad? He asked one morning while eating cereal. I don't know, I said honestly. But even if she is, that's not your problem. He nodded like he understood, even if he didn't fully. Children often understand more than we think. They just don't have the words yet. A week later, kindness started showing up quietly. A neighbor left a card in our mailbox. Someone from Otis's preschool dropped off cookies. A friend texted, I heard what happened. You protected your child. That matters. No big speeches. No drama. Just people letting me know I wasn't wrong. Then Aunt Rowan came back. She brought pie and a board game. She stayed for tea. She told Otis the game was from Santa's backup team. She winked when she said it, and Otis laughed like it was a secret just for them. When Otis went to play, Rowan sat closer to me. I need to tell you something, she said. Her voice was quiet. Marla has been talking about Otis for months. Saying he's too sensitive. Too loud. Too much. Lane laughs. No one stops her. My chest tightened. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked. Rowan looked down. Because they're afraid of her. She makes people feel small. That night, after Rowan left, I sat alone on the couch long after Otis fell asleep. I kept thinking about patterns. About how Marla treated me when I was a child. About how love always came with rules. About how approval was something you earned, not something you were given. I realized something important. This wasn't new behavior. It was just the first time I refused to accept it. 2 days later, Marla came back. I saw her car in the driveway just after sunset. I opened the door but stayed inside. She didn't apologize. She talked about fairness. About how one moment shouldn't define a family. About how I was overreacting. She never said Otis's name. That told me everything. You punished a child for having feelings, I said. You told him he didn't deserve gifts. You told him Santa skipped him because he was bad. He won't remember, she said. I looked her straight in the eyes. He already does. She scoffed. You're destroying this family. I shook my head. No. I'm protecting my child. She said something about me being ungrateful. About everything she had done for me. About how the house was unfair. I said calmly, you are not welcome here anymore. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Then she walked away. That night, Otis asked me a question I will never forget. Does Santa know I'm good? Yes, I said without hesitation. He always knows. After that, life became quieter in a different way. Not empty. Clear. We made new routines. We had simple dinners. We laughed more. I stopped jumping every time my phone buzzed. Then, about 3 weeks later, I got a letter. Not a message. Not a call. A letter. It was from Marla. She wrote about being hurt. About being misunderstood. About how discipline builds character. She never apologized. She never mentioned Otis's feelings. I folded the letter and put it away. Some people don't want repair. They want control back. And then something unexpected happened. Lane called. Her voice sounded tired. Not angry. Just worn down. She's furious, Lane said. But, things aren't the same now. People are talking. Rowan told others what she saw. I stayed quiet. Lane sighed. I didn't realize how bad it was. I should have said something. Maybe, I said. But now you know. We ended the call without drama. No forgiveness. No explosion. Just honesty. That night, I tucked Otis into bed. He held his favorite puppet close. You're a good kid, I told him. Not because of how you act. Just because you are. He smiled sleepily. I know. That was when I realized something had already changed. He believed me. And I believed myself. Time did not fix everything. But it changed the shape of the pain. Weeks passed. Then months. The house stayed quiet, but it no longer felt empty. It felt safe. Otis stopped asking about Marla. At first, I worried that meant he was hiding something. That the hurt was still there, just buried. But our therapist explained something important. Children don't cling to people who hurt them when they feel protected, she said. They let go when they feel safe. That stayed with me. One afternoon in early spring, Otis came home from school with a paper crown on his head and glitter all over his shirt. I was helper of the day, he said proudly. What does that mean? I asked. I helped people when they were sad, he said, like it was the most normal thing in the world. I smiled, but my throat tightened. No one had taught him to be kind through fear. No one had shamed him into empathy. He was kind because he was safe. That was the difference. A few weeks later, I ran into Marla by accident at the grocery store. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, emotionally. She didn't smile. Didn't scold. Didn't pretend. She just said, "You've turned everyone against me." I took a breath. No, I said calmly. Your actions did that. She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue, then closed it again. For the first time in my life, she looked unsure. I raised you, she said finally. And I'm raising him, I replied. That's the difference. I walked away without shaking. That was my justice. Not revenge. Not shouting. Not humiliation. Boundaries. Later that week, Aunt Rowan invited us over for dinner. Nothing fancy. Soup. Bread. A small cake for no reason at all. Otis helped set the table. Rowan watched him carefully, then looked at me. He's lighter, she said. Kids carry what adults put on them. I nodded. I stopped carrying it, I said. She smiled. That night, after Otis fell asleep, I sat alone in the living room and thought about the house Marla and Lane had lived in. I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt clarity. I sold it. Not out of spite. Out of closure. The money went into savings and into Otis's future. College. Travel. Choices. Freedom. A few months later, I got another letter from Marla. This one was shorter. She wrote, "I miss you. I don't understand why you did this, but I hope one day you'll come around." Still no apology. I didn't reply. Some doors close quietly. They don't slam. They don't echo. They just close. And that's okay. The final moment came unexpectedly. One night, while we were brushing teeth, Otis looked up at me in the mirror. "Can I ask you something?" "Always." "Why didn't Grandma like me?" I knelt down so we were eye level. "She didn't know how to love gently," I said. "That's not because of you." He thought about that. "Do you love me gently?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Every day." He smiled, rinsed his mouth, and ran to bed. I stood there for a long moment, staring at my reflection. I had broken a cycle. Not perfectly. Not loudly. But completely. The house was quiet. Not with tension. With peace. Thank you for watching the video. Like it if you watched the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.